All right, guys, welcome to another Medicine Mondays with yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, favorite board certified internist, founder of drbarrypierre.com, as well as the host of your Medicine Mondays, Empower Yourself Better Health series, and of course, the Lunch and Learn podcast with Dr. Barry. So, I think to end the month of February, Black History Month, I think it's very important, right? And I think the stars kind of align that I got a chance to watch this early screening of a documentary, Black Men in White Coats, and like I've been super charged up and kind of ready to kind of run through a brick wall after watching this, because I think as a physician, especially a black physician in this country, I think a lot of times it gets taken for granted the position I'm in, right? Like I think sometimes I take for granted, my ability to talk to you guys, on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever I'm talking to you guys at, and educating you guys on all these different health related matters, right? Because I do it not only as a physician, but I also do it wearing, the banner of being a black male physician. And I think what's extremely important, right? And I think what's extremely poignant, especially with a month like this, right, where we kind of really highlight a lot of the black, related achievements, especially here in this country, is understanding that it's not common, right, to see a face like mine's, right, educating you in the level I'm able to educate you and with the background I'm in. And I was glad that I was able to kind of again watch this kind of screening that's kind of helped kind of recharge my battery, and kind of like as if I'm not already doing a million different things, right, but kind of help recharge my battery and allow me to know that, like, one, I'm doing an amazing job and I still got work to do, right? Which is always great, right? Like I love that drive, right? Because sometimes you can kind of get to this pinnacle of your career, right, where you're thinking like, wow, I've already kind of done, everything that you're supposed to do, right? Understanding that like the road, is still, a long ways to go, especially for the final destination, right? So I think I want to touch a lot on the aspect of being a black male physician here in this country, being I guess kind of in the forefront, right? Especially here on kind of social media and all these related products. Being able to have my face out there, right? And what does that mean for not only for myself, right? For not only for the profession of medicine, but really for the community, right? That I take care of. And so I want to first, I think, so we can all kind of get in the mindset, right? I want to kind of show you the trailer of this screening, right? Just so you can kind of get the forethought of where we're going with this, right? Because I think it's extremely important to kind of understand that, a lot of work, we're still in trouble, right? Like, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to point, obviously, I like to like show you guys some sources, right? So we're going to talk about how, out of all of the physicians, right, across this country, only 3% are black males, right? Which is a problem, right? Like only 3% black male, especially when we try to articulate that and understand the aspect of our community, especially black males communities, right, of all the health related disparities. And we've done studies after studies knowing that if you walk into, your doctor's office, right, and that doctor looks like you, right, and doctor has some of the same cultural background like you are more likely to follow that doctor, right? You're more likely to follow the doctor's directions, right? And you're more likely to be compliant, right? And we know and understand, especially we've talked about this ad nauseum, if you are more compliant, right, if you follow your doctor's directions, you will live longer, right? Like that's easier day. I don't have to do a study for that, right? But because that should be evidence, right? Should be common sense, right? But like they've done studies, right, to show that like what I'm saying is not was saying is true, right? So I definitely want to. So first, I want to show this trailer, right? Just so you guys, it's only a couple minutes, right? Just so you guys can get in the mindset, kind of where we're going, and then understanding what do we do from here, right? Because again, February is February. By the next time I do a Medicine Monday, it's going to be March, right? We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, right? We're going to be talking about, kidney related disease, right? Because I think National Kidney Month is next month, right? So we got some topics to talk about, moving forward, right? But like I think to highlight and make sure especially the spotlight's already there, right? To make sure we understand that we have what I call as a title kind of aptly, we have a public health crisis, right? Which is the lack of black men in medicine, right? It's an American crisis, a public health crisis, and it's something we need to resolve, right? So I want you to let's just watch this trailer just so you guys can kind of get in that same mindset, same ready to go. And of course, all of the links that I will be dropping, like always, will be in the description. I definitely want you to check this out, when that comes about.
We need more black men in white coats because we need to save the lives of more black men, period.
There were fewer black men applying to medical school in 2014 than in 1978.
There are several medical schools that do not have any black men in their classrooms. When that is the case, and we're in a learning environment, there's going to be different conclusions made about how to care for people if there are not diverse people around the table.
You need to care about your fellow man and woman, otherwise we all suffer. So the reason why white people, white women should care about diversifying the physician workforce, which includes black men, is because it makes it better for all of us.
Historically, the system wasn't designed for black men to succeed.
My mom, on and off drugs, in and out of jail my whole life, and becoming an orthopedic spine surgeon. If I can do it and come from that environment and everything that I went through, I think you can also.
There are little black boys out there who see me on TV, who see me in this role, and who may not have ever thought that they could be a doctor, much less Surgeon General, who when they see that, all of a sudden think, I can do that too.
We're approaching this as though it's a problem versus realizing that we have a crisis on our hands.
What's the impact if this problem doesn't change?
Black people are gonna continue dying.
Yeah, ain't no time for stressing. I've been really stacking. Ooh, ooh.
And of course, I don't want to, throw the whole, trailer on there. It was only like a minute, but I that was enough to hopefully get the gist of, right? If something is not done, right, more people will die, right? Like, I think it's, it's evident, right? It makes so much sense to the world. And I always try to, especially when I see stuff like this and I think about topics like this, I think about what are some real life examples? Like, how did I go through like my process, right? And I remember as a pre-med student, right, I was at Florida State University, and I remember being in my science classes, right? And I remember being able to kind of look around, right, and not see too many black men in my classes, right? I remember that thought, especially as I moved up. Like, I think when I first got on campus, and when you get on and everyone's pre-med, and then as you go along, from first year to second year to third year, you're about to graduate, and you're seeing less and less of your friends kind of go along that trek along with you. And when I go into medical school, right, and I get to medical school, and I went to Nova Southeastern University, and we had a class of about 200 students, and there were seven of us out of the, all 200. And I remember that being a very big deal. Like, I remember, like, people being like, wow, there's a lot of y'all this year. Like, I remember, like, and the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, there's only 7 of us in here. And people are making it a big deal because even with 200, they weren't used to having that many all in one class, right? Like, it was this feat, right? And we need to get to the point where, like, people aren't like amazed, right, that you have more than 5, students out of 200, right, a part of your class or also happen to be African American. And a part of that 7, there were 4 black males, right? So not only do we have 7, black students in general out of 200, 4 of them were black male, right? So our class really stood out, right? It was, and of course people would ask us questions like, what happened? What did you guys do? I think we all just kind of met up there, right? It's not like we all knew each other and we said we're all going to this school. We all just kind of ended up there. And I think that's the concern. That's the problem. I'm class of 2011, so that's in 2007, right? And fast forward 2021 here, and I checked our class. The numbers aren't that much better, right? Like, we don't have that many more black male students across the class, and that's common, right? Like, in the trailer they mentioned you have medical schools, right, who have classes where they look around and they don't see a single black male in the class. And the reason why that's so, disheartening and scary is because you got to imagine, right, when you are the minority, right, when you are a minority and you're taking care and you're kind of doing education on different topics, health related topics, And there's going to be somewhere strictly focused on, the African American community. And there's literally no one there to kind of speak up. There's no one there to kind of give, their thoughts, right, of why this is happening. Right. So it's one of that situation where there's a table, but there's missing seats. Right. And unfortunately, we don't have anyone to fill it. And, I was looking at this, AAMC website, right? And this was published later last year. And I'll do my little transition to it. And it says Black men make up less than 3% of physicians. That requires immediate action, says leaders in academic medicine. From systemic racism to economic disadvantage, Black men face numerous obstacles in their path to medicine. At the AAMC annual meeting, 3 who succeeded shared their stories and their insights on how to best pave the way for others. Right? This is the AAMC, right? This is the governing body of medical schools, right? And they're recognizing that less than 3% of the physician force, right, is Black males, right? So how can we kind of rectify the situation? And they kind of mentioned it in the trailer. What can we do? Who's responsible? Who's responsible, and what can we do for it? I know as a Black male, as a Black physician myself, I understand, right? And I see, right, my patient's face when I walk into the room, especially my Black patients, and they see that I'm the physician, right? It's almost like a sense of pride, right? And you could tell they're just like, okay, all right, this is my doc. I could see that their mood changes, when I walk into the room. But imagine, right, because there's not that many, Dr. Barry Pierre walking around, right? A lot of patients are walking around this country who never get to experience that, right? I was fortunate when I was growing up, Dr. Gaston Pierre, right? He was our doctor. He was our community doctor for the Haitians in our community. And all of my, Haitian friends and families, we all went to Dr. Gaston. And he actually was the reason why I said, I want to be a doctor, right? Cause I used to just be so amazed at the magic, he used to be able to perform, right? You tell him a couple things, you tell him a couple of your ailments, and somehow he's able to diagnose, treat, and give you a medication. I just thought as a child, right? I thought that was so amazing. I said, how do I get superpowers like that? Right. And I've mentioned this before, Dr. Gaston has always been, one of the, premier reasons why I am, a physician today, right? Because I had that role model. But imagine if I did not have Dr. Gaston, right? Where would I be at in 2021, right? If I didn't have Dr. Gaston, who was able to make such an impression on me at such an early age. And I think that's kind of where, the discussion, kind of lies in, right? We have so many different holes that need to be plugged up, right? We understand the onus of systemic racism, right? We understand the onus that places so much burden, right? Especially from an economic standpoint, right? From a social related standpoint, so much burden on the Black community. And we understand what it means to be a Black male, to kind of go through the ranks of just getting through school. We're not even talking about, to college or anything. We're just talking about getting through school. And we talk about that onus and having to fight that obstacle, right? That if you're able to at least get through high school, right? And then if everything is well, maybe you make the decision to say I want to go to college. And if you do that, then you make the decision, maybe I want to be a doctor, right? There's so many different hurdles that we have to kind of leap over, right? That are, unfortunately, there are so many burdens and obstacles in our way that push us away from it. And whether you're talking about starting young in the elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, whether you're talking about focusing on your undergrad, students, or even more importantly, when they get to medical school, making sure they actually complete medical school. Right? Because it's not guaranteed for you to touch medical school and then for you to graduate and, be on your way. Right? That's just, unfortunately, that's not a guarantee, for everyone. And again, because our numbers are already so paltry and already so terrible, right? We don't have the luxury, right, of being able to lose one or two. Right, because we lose one or two, Black male, potential physicians. All of a sudden, those are communities that will never be impacted positively by that physician. Right, so I think this is a call. Right, I think this is a call, at least for me. I watched this screening, right, and I felt that this was a call to action for me, right, to do more. right? I felt that was a call to action for me, not only to serve as this, this black doctor here on YouTube, right? But how can I serve the community, who watch me, or their families who watch me, or the communities who watch me? What can I do for them to make sure that they see, not only a physician in such a positive light, right, but like they want to be motivated to kind of take my spot, right? Like I think that's gonna be the goal at hand, right? Like I said, I was very enamored, right, just kind of watching this documentary, and saddened at the same time, right? Because here we have and the creator, again, I don't want to not give him credit. Where is our guy at? Let me see. Oh yes, Dr. Dale Okorodudu, right? So he's like the creator, founder of Black Men in White Coats, right? So definitely want to make sure he gets the credit. Again, obviously links will be in the description. But I'm so thankful that, he took on the mantle to say, like, I got to do something about this, right? This is a problem that if I personally don't do something about, like, it won't change, right? And you need change drivers like that in our community. Right. And he's looks like he's a poem crit guy. Right. So this guy is in the ICU, taking care of the sickest of the sickest patients. But still, he says, you know what? I'm going to do what I'm destined to do. Right. As a physician. Right. But I'm going to make sure. Right. Like I leave the door open. I talked this a lot with my mentees. This onus of making sure that when you get through the door, you don't slam it behind you, right? Making sure you leave that door open so people can follow. Like, cause again, I've been around people who, once they get through the door, they're like, hey, like I did my hard work. Now it's they got to do the hard work too to get to where I'm at. And we're not on that, right? And thankfully, Dr. Dale's not on that as well, right? Like he's definitely on the, not only am I going to do the hard work to get here, I'm going to leave the door open. And in fact, I may just break the door down, break the walls down so tons of people could come in. I don't want just one person to be able to walk through the door. I want tons of people to come in at the same time because we need that. And I love what they're doing over there at Black Men in White Coats. Like I said, and again, I just happen to have a chance to see the kind of the pre-screening of it, right? And again, I think it was such an amazing documentary that, when it does come out, I'm not sure when it's actually coming out to the public, right? But like when that does come out, I will definitely let you guys know, right? Because you definitely need to support it. I will support it as well too. And and I actually got a token to do a screening for like 10 people, right? So if you drop your name in the comments, say, hey, like I want to watch the documentary as well too. I just say like documentary right in the comments. We could set up like some type of live screening, like some virtual screening, right? Because obviously we want everyone to watch it. And I'll send you some codes out, right? Well, we can get this together, right? Like I said, definitely thankful what's happening here today with Dr. Dale and Black Men in White Coats. The message is important, not only just because it happens to be in February and it's Black History Month, and this is a guy who's making Black history, right? He wants to make sure that you never have to read a phrase, Black men in medicine, Black men make up less than 3% of physicians, right? He wants to make sure that in 2030, this is not the case, right? And we can only do that really one person at a time, getting together, right? So if you've had some amazing experiences with a Black male physician, please, let us know, drop it in the comments, or let your physician know, right? Like, hey, I am thankful for what you're doing, so they can be recognized, right? Because again, sometimes we just put our head down, right, and we just get to work, right? And sometimes it's difficult for us to kind of slow down enough for us to kind of appreciate, all of the amazing work we're doing and all of the people we're touching, right? So that is it for Medicine Mondays. You guys be blessed. I'm gonna see you next week for, like I said, I think we're gonna be talking about. We're talking about kidney disease. Like I have to look at my schedule to kind of see where is it going to fall in line. So we're definitely going to be talking about kidney disease sometime next Monday in March because it is National Kidney Month. Just not sure when. So you guys be blessed. Have a great day. See you guys next week.